had a menu item that wasn't selling particularly well, and that was our carnitas, which are pork. And they weren't selling as well because they weren't as good as everything else on the menu. So we began to rework the recipe for carnitas, and during that time, we're looking at all of the ingredients that we use, including the pork. And at that time, Steve Ells, who's our founder and chairman and co-CEO and a classically trained chef, read an article in Ed Baer's newsletter, The Art of Eating, about the farms of Niman Ranch, which was this network of individual family-owned farms that were raising pigs in more sustainable, more traditional ways on open pastures or in deeply bedded pens without the use of antibiotics or other growth-promoting drugs. And loved what he saw. It's this very picture of what people think of the American farm is, but it's not the reality of a lot of American agriculture. In hog production, 95% or more of the pigs raised in this country are raised in industrial confinement operations where the pigs never see the outdoors or have fresh air. They live in these very densely crowded barracks-like buildings. Breeding sows are often kept in what they call gestation crates, which is a cage so small that the pig can't turn around. It can lie down and stand up, and that's really all it can do. And we decided when we saw the real stark difference in these things that we didn't want Chipotle's success to be based on an exploitative model like this. The quantity of antibiotics used in animal production is staggering. It's several times the quantity used to treat human illness. There are studies by groups like the Union of Concerned Scientists that estimate that as much as 7 times the quantity of antibiotics are used in pork alone than to treat human illness. So we began serving pork from Niman Ranch and then had this epiphany that if we want to serve the best tasting food we can, which has always been our goal, then you really need to understand how animals are raised and how vegetables are grown, because those variables impact on the taste and quality of the food. So we started serving pork from Niman Ranch, and that gave rise to this quest for better, more sustainable sources for all of the ingredients we use. Today, we serve all naturally raised meat in all of our restaurants, from animals that are raised in a humane way, never given antibiotics or added hormones, and in a way where they get to live more as nature intended. We're the only national restaurant company with significant commitments to local and organically grown produce. We are using an increasing amount of milk from pasture-raised dairy cattle to make our cheese and sour cream. So we're not there. I mean, it's not where we want it to be. It's a long road, but we're making a lot of progress. And I think in doing that, changing the way people think about and eat fast food. Food raised this way costs more, but it doesn't mean you can't be profitable. When we started serving pork from Niman Ranch, we had to raise the price of a carnitas burrito or order of tacos by $1, which at our price point is a big, big increase. Carnitas went from being about $4.50 to $5.50, from being the least expensive thing on our menu to the most expensive thing on our menu. Conventional fast food wisdom will tell you no one will buy it. In reality, what happened is we started selling 2 times as many carnitas, burritos, and tacos as we were before. So we found that people are willing to pay a little bit more money for food that they recognize as being better. A lot of the suppliers that we use are sort of niche suppliers. I mean, this naturally raised protocol accounts for a very small percentage of all of the meat production in this country. When we began working with Niman as our pork supplier, they had about 50 or 60 individual family farms as part of their program, and we had about 50 or 60 restaurants. What we saw as we grew is that there was essentially a 1-to-1 correlation between the number of restaurants we operated and the number of these individual hog farms we needed to supply us. Today, we have more than 1,250 restaurants. Niman has between 600 and 700 farms participating in their program, and we've taken on other pork suppliers. So, if businesses are willing to commit to doing things in these better ways, the supply chain will shift to fill the demand. The decisions we've made allow us to positively impact on the food culture in this country. Our country is so fast food oriented. Food is fuel, get it and go. But we're showing that it doesn't have to be that way, that you can use food, you can serve food from better sources, and you can still make a profit.